Well, very good afternoon, everybody. We're live on Loughborough campus. We've got more brilliant action for you across this International Futsal Week here in Loughborough. England versus Slovakia, the Lionesses on home soil for the very first time. Excitement building, decent crowding as well inside the Sir David Wallace here. It's been a great week already, and we look forward to it getting even better. Stephen Jameson here alongside the one and only Louis. Louis, first of all, pleasure to see you again. It truly is. There's a great atmosphere building for this, and what an exciting moment for our Lionesses on home soil for the very first time.
Yeah, well, good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. And as you say, a massively historic occasion, and I think I can't overstate how big this occasion is. The England women, their team's still very much in its infancy, growing. The players are getting better, the support is getting better around them. And it's, as you say, it's great to see this, and this first ever opportunity to play this game here. They've waited a long time to have a team, and then this chance here to show the public, not just here, but those watching on the stream, what they're capable of. And it's a good task today for them that they've got up against a Slovakia team that are preparing to get ready for the elite round. And I'm delighted to say he's just joined us now, another legend, Richard Ward.
Hi, Louis.
So good to have you with us, mate. What's this week been like, having all the England guys and gals together for what feels like a proper, big, massive event?
Look, I think England Futsal are doing an amazing job putting on events like these. I was just talking to some of the other staff working behind the scenes, and this is the first time we're doing these kind of events. So we're going to learn, but as you can see here, we're filling up the crowd nicely. Hopefully we're going to get a fantastic atmosphere for this game, and personally I'm so excited to see the Lionesses today, what they can do on home soil. So super excited.
Yeah, you've been in their position. You have worn those 3 lions on your chest on home soil. You've also been in a position where you've been away and you've had to go to far-flung lands to play your tournaments where friends, family can't necessarily be there and watch you. What does it mean the first time they're able to be there in the stands and see you with that England jersey on?
Yeah, as a player it's amazing, looking up in the crowd, seeing your friends and family. I know after speaking to a few of the Lionesses that they've actually had their family out for the last games in Moldova. So I think, those friends and family, they're ultras, they're going to go up and down the country. And
definition of ultras, travelling all that way.
You bet. Moldova. Chisinau in the winter, I don't think they're the best holiday destination, but for me this is all about getting that next generation excited, and I'm just trying to keep my eyes on the crowd here, looking at the young girls, the young boys as well, who are going to get inspired by today, and that's all I can wish for, really.
Yeah, completely agree. There's plenty of familiar names if you've been an NFS follower over the last few years, and great to see them pulling on the England jerseys. We're about to see the teams come out in just a moment, the announcer revving up the crowds. I think they're going to emerge from the outside as well, so from the light into the relative darkness right at the minute of the Sir David Wallace Arena. The lights go out, and here come the teams. Led in by our officials, referees Esther Perry, alongside Harvey Newstead and Matt Bruffel. On timekeeping duty is Jack Wicks. And a seminal moment for this Lionesses squad, led out by Emma Toon, fittingly I'd say by Emma Toon, on home soil for the very first time.
Yeah, Steve, if anyone deserves this opportunity, I've messaged them many times about this. You've waited for this for a long time, and you absolutely deserve this honour. And I just wondered if Richard, he can remember his first home game when he played for England. Probably will get that after the national anthems.
Here come the national anthems of England and Slovakia. How awesome to see the flag of St George flown all around the Sir David Wallace here in Loughborough as we prepare for England versus Slovakia. And a good test this as well for the Lionesses. Slovakia might be ranked 45th in the FIFA World Rankings, ranked only 12th in the UEFA ones though. This is a true test for a very, very handy England side who recently ran through the recent qualifiers unbeaten but didn't quite manage to qualify. Draws with Bosnia and Serbia, sandwiching a very impressive win over Lithuania. These are the teams. Starting fives for England look like Joy Lowe, Bex Foster, Kate McGreevy, Kirsty Corral and Ali Miller. As for Slovakia, Denisa Moniatska, Dominika Kucharakova, Simona Homova, Jana Juskova and Klaudia Tichakova. Peter Caffin is the head coach of Slovakia, and a very proud Sean Kitson leads his England ladies. Loads of options from the bench. You can see the depth on the sheet for England is pretty strong, and loads of different looking options as well, which is quite exciting. They can change the game in a lot of ways, that squad.
Yeah, we've got representation from a lot of other teams in the NFS at the minute, and yeah, just to go back, Louis asked me a second ago when my first home game was. It was 2015. Lionesses have been going for 2 years now, since 2024. And thinking about 2015, we've got players in our team. Harvey, who scored the first goal, becoming the youngest goal scorer. Should have been 7 then. So looking at that career ahead that she's got, where I think as an Englishman, I'm so excited to see what she's going to be able to add to this scene over the next few years.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's a great time to be a women's futsal player in the UK, and you've seen that a lot over the last few years with the NFS, Louis. It's come on leaps and bounds. The standard is going up and up and up, and it's shown in the England side.
Yeah, I was talking last night with a few people at the hotel and talking about women's futsal and the opportunities we've got to really progress, and I think in terms of the England women's team, I think we can get ourselves up the rankings really quickly. We've got the talent. There's definitely players coming through. I was watching the younger England players this morning in some of the sessions that we had a coaching conference, and my time as well sort of in the grassroots futsal area, knowing that the talent's out there, and I think there's the will and the need to bring those players through. At university level, the standards are going up, and I think, you know, Richard as well, he's seen that in his time coming through all the various clubs, that, you know, the female side of the game's definitely coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, just again looking back on the recent qualifiers, we were so unlucky not to progress from that main qualifying group.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 groups, we were 1 point off finishing in the runners-up, and you know, the key game within that was the Serbia game where we drew 0-0. 51 shots, I think, was the stat I heard around how many chances we had for a 0-0, and it's unheard of really to be that unlucky. So, you know, Slovakia are going to be representing in the elite round. So let's see where we stand today. I think we're going to do a really good job today.
Yeah, really good test for these England girls, that's for sure. They could easily have been facing Slovakia come the October as well. The elite round group that Slovakia are in, also containing Hungary, Sweden and Bosnia, is the group that England might have found themselves in. So there is a little element of what we could have won, but a great chance to test themselves all the same, Louis.
Yeah, as you say, Steve, it's a really good opportunity here. I mean, I think England have pretty much got the strongest group of players they could muster for this, and you know, we have to remember that none of these England players are full or part-time. They've all got jobs, they're working or they're studying, so they've got to fit all of this around what they're doing, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they cope with this Slovakia team, who they played a pair of friendlies against the highly ranked Ukraine team, and they lost 7-0 and 7-1. So they're kind of, I think, in a position where they need to look at themselves preparing for this main round in October. But England are still future planning, and you know, there's definitely a lot of scope here for this England team to improve, and I think Sean is hoping to see that tonight, or this afternoon rather.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're mere moments away from kick-off. Just a reminder of the starting quartet out on court for England: Tonks, McGreevy, Corral and Miller.
At this stage, can I ask for a little bit of a prediction?
Oh, that was what I was going to ask you, Mr. Ward, but I am predicting a fun game with lots of goals. That's all I've got to offer on that one. What about yourself?
Don't pin your sail to the mast. I'm going to go for a nice 5-3. I definitely see Corral being our key informed player. Hat-trick. I've called it early.
She's got a double recently as well, Kirsty Corral. She's in good goal-scoring form for the Lionesses. That was her on the ball feeding Ali Miller.
Louis, where's your head up?
Well, I think I'm going to sit on the fence and just go England win.
You two are the seasoned pros here. I want to get a bit more.
Well, you were brought into the team to provide that edge, Wardy, much like you do on the court.
Here we go.
Here comes Corral down the right for England, cut out handily by Slovakia, who mount their first proper attack and a first decent chance. But as we will probably say a lot this afternoon, there was Joy Low to mop up the danger. Super, super goalkeeper, Joy Low.
Nice ball speed. Good to get our feet on the ball early doors. The space.
There is a run there and there's room. Decent chance, first touch wasn't quite there for Kate McGreevy. That was actually a really decent opportunity early on.
No, that's a great run through from the back. She's been a stalwart in the Bloomsbury team in their success the last few years. And often with the fixes, you don't want to see them being stationary. If she can dislodge the other team's players, it's going to be a huge asset today.
Yeah, no one from Slovakia tracked that run of Kate McGreevy. It's her header that concedes the first set piece of the game. Be taken in by Klaudia Tichakova.
And for those of you who watched the England-Northern Ireland game yesterday, hopefully they're doing a better job at defending their set pieces today. Commentator's cursed.
Well, half a chance in there for Homova, but safely tracks out for a Joy Low ball. Looks to find the pivot, which is Becca Tonks. Did a good job of getting her body in there, but couldn't quite find the touch she needed.
I think this is going to be the most interesting part of the game, Steve, where...
Oh, that looks suspiciously like a foul. Referee waves play on. And, well, you have to wave play on for that one then if you didn't give the one before. So play continues with McGreevy and Corral. Ali Miller looking to find that diagonal pass. Such a dynamic player, Ali Miller. We've not seen really any of it so far, but in terms of raw athleticism, there's not many in the NFS that can match her. She gets a chance to run down the wing. She's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes she's a little bit undervalued by people who don't really sort of, especially her out of possession work as well, Steve. You know, I think Richard will have seen her play, and there's a lot of selfless work there, and she's a highly intelligent player. Her sort of game intelligence is really top level.
Corral's going to have a whack. It will be a goal kick. Thought that got a nick for a second, but goal kick is the call. First subs come in rotation, 13 and 15 checking into the game. Zuzana Tomichikova and Mikhaila Nedorostova.
And as you say, talking about some of our players' strengths there, I think part of our challenge is how we can make the most of them. So Miller's going to run people off the court all day. If she can be dynamic in both directions, huge asset for us.
Kirsty Corral checking out. Layla Booth comes into the game.
Good start from Laura, getting her foot early on the ball, controlling it nicely.
Good rotations from England, but two players just ending up standing on the same bit of court, actually. Ali Miller and Layla Booth, I think that was. Those are the sort of teething problems you can have when you're not at club level and training together every week. Tobin scoops it forward. She's also come into the game. Replacing Tonks.
I think we're moving the ball nicely. This is a good start.
Yeah, England currently playing a 4-0 system, so they're trying to draw the Slovakians out and see if they can create that space in behind, but the opportunity just didn't arise itself there. There it did, but as England stretched out to a 3-1, but you can see what they're trying to do there, Richard.
Yeah, and they've got that flexibility in there with someone like a Laura Tobin who can play as that pivot player really well.
Yeah, I really like Laura back to goal, bringing players into the game, being that focal point for us. I think she can be a real big threat today.
4 more players with bibs around their necks, which indicate they're probably about to come in pretty shortly. You can see Charlotte Gurr, Kerry Walklett, Jade Grove and Emma Toon ready for battle.
Here we go.
There's that hold-up play that Richard mentioned from Laura Tobin. McGreevy finds Miller. Can she find McGreevy? Yes, she can. And England get the game's first goal. It's Kate McGreevy, history maker. England Lionesses' first goal on English soil. One that Kate McGreevy will remember forever.
Love to see it.
It's a lovely goal as well. We talked about the running of Ali Miller. She got herself into a really good position. And not only was she unselfish, she was actually really precise with the pass. Waited for the defender to commit and just threaded it through the legs for McGreevy, who couldn't miss.
It's about putting it in the right areas. It's a great through ball and we've capitalised. What a good start.
Now, that foursome that I mentioned of Walcott, Grove, Gurr and Tune are on, and they've been caught straight away, and that should have been 1-1. That should have been 1-1. Koharchikova with a fantastic opportunity. And just didn't quite sort her feet out in time, I don't think.
Yeah, I just think that ball just bounced just a little bit awkwardly for her, and she couldn't adjust herself, and that is a definite let-off. And that's something, Richard, that teams need to guard against. We suffered from that last night where we scored a goal and almost switched off straight away.
Yeah, just to warn both of you, if you can bring up last night as little as possible, that'll be fantastic.
You'll notice I've not mentioned it once.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Louis really hanging you out to try it. But no, seriously, it's it's a key part of game management. It's easy to think you're on a high after scoring, and that's sometimes when you can be at your most vulnerable.
And there's also the way that the changes came in with the complete rotation on court. It looked a little bit like they were just caught a little bit cold defensively. That was the first seconds they'd had on the court at that moment.
Yeah, I think one of the big things we try and instill in the younger players playing the game is when you're coming on, make sure you get that first pass, that first tackle right, and then once you get into the flow of the game, it'll all feel nice and natural. So I think the girls would like to be a bit more settled now, can ride the storm and then build their way into the game.
Intercepted by Gurr, one of those players that I'm delighted to see get the opportunity to pull on an England shirt. Has been so good for so long. Should have been forgiven for thinking the opportunity may never come.
And the chemistry we've got between Gurr and Tune as well,
Yeah.
we're going to create chances.
Here is Emma Tune. It's good pressure this from Slovakia. Tune looks to pick out Jade Grove. Not quite on the mark with the pass as Slovakia ring their changes and change all four of their out-court players.
It's unlucky, it's right idea, doing the right things. You know, the girls will have a game plan today, and I think that's what they'll measure themselves against. Not necessarily the result, obviously we want to win, but I think it's a part of a bigger picture, building themselves so that, you know, like we said right at the start of this, we want to see how they're going to compete when they do get to that next stage, which is going to happen.
Yeah, and so far, if early impressions are anything to go by, we've played about 5 minutes. England have probably had the better of it, and they've scored the game's opening goal.
Yeah, I'm really going to be interested to see how Jade Grove gets on. I think, you know, she's a player that wants that physical contact. She wants to engage, and you know, she's really vocal out on the court.
Screams for it straight away there, looks to roll her defender, gets the shot away, and that's what Jade Grove is all about. It's a good pass to find her actually by Joy Lowe, exactly where she needed it. And she is such a lethal finisher.
Slovakia are letting England exploit the pivot. That's a good part of the game plan. You can see they're executing it really well already.
Good feet from the Slovakians through the mid-court. Oh, a belated tumble. And it will be an England ball. Joy Lowe looks to get Jade Grove on the move. Slovakia haven't tracked her. Jade Grove just snatched at it. And that, for a player of Jade Grove's proficiency in front of goal, is a real chance.
Great dish by Lowe, though. Perfect pace. Ready for the first time finish. I think she'd win that one again.
Yeah, I think if she had a chance again, I think she felt like the defender was right on her back, but I think she had more time than she realised.
Possibly, yeah. I think also if you can hit it early, you can often unsettle the goalkeeper. I think, you know, hopefully she's forgotten about that one already. Looking to the next chance.
Tune in there with a lesser spotted header. And Slovakia rotate once again.
Just looking at the matchup here with Tune at the back.
Yeah, against Papayova, number 7 for Slovakia.
Yeah, Papayova looks to have a bit of the height and physical advantage, just as she's coming off.
Keep an eye on that one for next time. They rotate their foursomes again. Bex Foster onto court, I believe, for the first time. Likewise for Sophie Harvey, wearing number 5. Joining them, Kirsty Corral and Becca Tonks.
Good blocking. Looking at the team setting up defensively, I think the body shape's really good. You can see they're all knees bent, alert, head scanning. That's what I'm looking for to make sure we're switched on from these set pieces. Looks to be simple set and smash here from the Slovakians.
Tried something a little bit cuter, did Homova. Straight out of play, England ball.
Like I say, Steve, you're doing a fantastic job of these Slovakians. That crash course in Slovakian you had just before this, I think it's going really well.
And it was a crash course. Oh, it just opened up there for a second for Becca Tonks, but then she was swiftly brought back.
I think we need just to make a little mention of the number 5 for England, Sophie Harvey, 18 years old.
Right on cue. There is Harvey. Pass cut out. Is good defending by Slovakia. Well, the belated fall again. Nothing much in that. Good cut out by Corral. Can they work a 2-on-1? Harvey charging up with her. Corral almost plays it into the legs of the defender, trying to make something happen. Tenacious work by England and by Tonks.
Yeah, I'll just finish that off, that comment around Sophie Harvey, the youngest England player ever to score a goal. I think it was just under her 18th birthday, so a tremendous effort from her.
And look, this is a great test, just playing against the Slovakia starting 5 now, so we want to be building around her for the future. Let's see how she can do now.
Here's Corral.
That's nice, supporting under the ball. Moving the ball well, trying to find the pivot.
Tonks just muscled out of it by Juskova. I think if you're Sean Kitson so far on the bench for England, you're relatively pleased, aren't you?
Here we go.
Good start this from the Lionesses. If you're just joining us, played 7.5 minutes of this opening half. Kate McGreevy with the only goal of the game so far. The Lionesses' first ever home international goal. Half a chance opening up potentially there, but now Slovakia can look to break on the transition with Shampayova, who hits the shot, comfortably held by Joy Lowe.
Good recovery runs. I think the team look on it. We need to start supporting the ball though, a bit isolated.
It's good work by Tonks. Decent off the ball run as well there from Corral, but didn't receive it.
Just as we're waiting for this kick in, what are your guys' thoughts around having the captain as the goalkeeper for Slovakia? For me, goalkeeper is such an important position. Trusting them as the captain, you've got to think they're providing a big experienced head to this team.
I quite like it, honestly, especially, speaking of goalkeepers, Joy Lowe runs into a little bit of trouble. Does pretty well to force her off the court there. Well, from 0 to hero there from Joy Lowe. She created the danger, but also stuffed it as well pretty quickly.
Commentator's curse. You did warn me about this early doors. I'm going to stop talking for a bit.
Welcome to our world, Richard.
It's good work this by Tonks. Holds it up well, gets the shot off and well blocked. But I think it speaks goalkeeper as captain to your point, Richard. They're going to be on court the vast majority of the game. They can almost be that coach on court, can't they, with all the rotations happening in the out-court positions.
Yeah, obviously we can't hear everything she's saying, but you can see she's talking. She's trying to get the defence sorted as we get a little chance there.
Yeah, I think it's also down to the emotional side, how the goalkeeper or any player as a captain manage themselves in the game. And you know, I think probably on a male perspective, probably Paco Sedano, the Spanish goalkeeper, you know, he was captain for Barcelona, and they did all right with him as captain. I just think it's down to the personality.
That's a great pass. Now then, Tonks sticks her defender. Nice little reverse pass. That's good feet from Corral. Step back to Harvey, who thought about the shot. A little bit far out for that. Works the space beautifully. Crosses goods and goes out for a corner.
Really good play there again from the Lionesses. We just look hungry. We're not turning down any forward passes. Fantastic footwork from all the individuals on court. This is good to watch.
I think if you're Slovakia, it's twice that it's happened really notably, but you've got to cut out that direct forward pass along the floor to the pivot. Set for Corral, who can strike them well. Didn't get a hold of that one. Foster certainly did, wins another corner.
Yeah, Steve, just picking up that last comment from you, I think allowing the ball either to go into Becca Tonks or Jade Grove is not a good game plan from Slovakia's point of view.
And Slovakia can ring some more changes, so too can England. Got Laura Tobin, Layla Booth, Ali Miller and goal scorer Kate McGreevy coming onto court.
It surprised me a little bit that both teams are kind of matching up the fours, doing full four swaps at the same time. I don't think that's a game plan, I think that's kind of coincidental, might be a game plan.
Here's Ali Miller. What it will do for England is keep a lot of the players very, very fresh.
Slovakia choosing to build into pressure here.
Tobin caught on it, lowers quickly out, finds her club teammate, Layla Booth, who can find her other club teammate, Laura Tobin, the Bolton connection.
Lovely composure there from Laura. Miller opening the court, great recognition of depth and space. Layla's in.
Space for Booth. Oh, just got caught on her heels a little bit there, did Layla. It's a good pass actually by Ali Miller.
What I really like about Booth is she's very clever looking in between the lines, trying to find that space, pop off, bring other players in. And the term I've heard a lot used for those kind of players is they oxygenate the play. They make other players play better, and I think seeing Booth on the court, I always like how England play and how they look when she's on.
Oh, I love that phrase. I'm going to nick that one if you don't mind.
It's the next crash course after your Slovakia one.
You went to that coaching clinic earlier by any chance, were you? Slovakia ball. Put in here by Tichakova. Just toe ends it into the D. It was a dangerous ball.
Again, this is the experienced five that Slovakia are trusting, I think, to get them up the court. I've really been impressed with Chiakova's footwork. Very tidy left footer. Here she is taking the corner.
Oh, Tobin intercepts that corner. Ali Miller with a rare chance to show her speed up court, but the ball didn't arrive. Charlotte Gerr going to check in for Laura Tobin.
Good shift there from Laura. See Miller starting off in a false position. Looks like we're going to go a bit more 4-0 now. Try and flatten out that Slovakia defence. Sort of similar to how we created that chance early on in the start of the game.
When you've got players like Miller who can go vertically so quickly, it can be a very dangerous proposition.
Yeah, Sean's been quite vocal on the bench as well, trying to get them playing, trying to get them moving through the phases.
I've not seen too many instances like that from the one just there from Ali Miller, where players have really looked to go 1v1 and try and beat their player on the outside.
Here we go, good press.
Gerr intercepts, Booth can take over, Miller with space. Oh, that's lovely.
Little cheeky nutmeg.
Yeah, you called it a moment ago there, Richard. Tichakova's just got that command on the ball, doesn't she? She's one of those players that looks like when it's at her feet, she isn't letting it go.
Yeah, she's got a bit of arrogance when she plays as well. You can see she's very confident. She's going to try that in the game. So I think, for me, she's the key danger for Slovakia so far. As we get
That's
a chance
a good
right
pass
inside.
for McGreevy,
Great
across
ball.
to Gerr!
What a save.
That is some keeping there, it really is, from Monatska. Great ball as well, right down the other end. Can Slovakia equalise? Not quite. That was nearly an incredible play from Monatska.
Great recovery from Booth, but we had 3 players back there. That's the hunger you need if you're going to win these games. The hunger to recover.
It was Kharchakova who was on the run behind the England offensive line. I believe a timeout's been called there. Yeah, it has. So we get a moment to reflect on the opening, 11 or 12 minutes or so. And I think from an England perspective, Louis, you'd be relatively pleased, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think apart from a couple of moments in the game, England have looked fairly comfortable. They've had good possession. They've created some good chances. That last moment, though, that was an incredible save. But also I think the secondary aspect of that was how quickly the goalkeeper gathered the ball in, and they were on the move, and probably within 2 or 3 seconds England were on the back foot. And you know that I think that's a great aspect of futsal, where we've probably got new people watching, Richard, and you know we need to bring new people into the sport, and that's the excitement of the game. If you don't finish your chances, very often you'll get punished at the other end. I've just got a question for Richard. So we've got new listeners and new viewers. You mentioned about the 4-0. Kind of, what's the idea behind that? What are we trying to do to create that space in behind? What's the sort of movements that we're looking at?
Yeah, so typically in futsal you can kind of set up in a couple of different formations, either a 3-1 where you kind of send in one player quite high, creating space for 3 players to play 3 against 3 essentially. And I don't want to start explaining as we get a dangerous set piece here on the 4-0.
It's a good ball in, comfy save for Joy Low. I think you're safe for now, Richard.
This is the curse. Okay,
it's good feet from Ali Miller.
On his pivot, really nice secure there, great ball through. But yeah, you can see a bit more 4-0 here, so look at the Slovakia defence. You can see the 9's a bit disjointed and we're playing 4 against 3 in this higher part of the court. As that 9 comes up, we're going to try and flatten them out and find that space in behind. Watch McGreevy, good little check into the middle. Can we pop it out and play again?
Yeah, it's a sort of shorthand for basically saying kind of free form in possession. The rotations, they're trying to create space, trying to create angles. 4-0 is great because it's defensively really hard to deal with when it's offensively executed well. 3-1 can be a little bit more predictable in that sense.
Yeah, it's the kind of chances you're trying to create. So do we have the dominance in that pivot position, which I think we've shown so far with our pivots. They're finding the ball to feet well, send runners, you're creating a simple set and shot. 4-0 requires a little bit more work in the build-up play, sharper, cuter passes, and then you need to stretch and run in behind. So you're trying to create this bigger space in behind rather than use the pivot as that space. Good save.
Well, they always say, don't they, that you got to be pretty crazy to be a goalkeeper. I think that phrase gets square rooted about 5 times to be a futsal keeper. Joy Low is the embodiment of that. Wears one unexpectedly to the face, and within 2 seconds, she's diving at the floor of an attacker as well.
Yeah, I remember her in England camp. She took one full in the face. I swear I would have been crying, but she just got up and got on with the game.
Yeah, made of different stuff. Our futsal keepers, and Joy Low, one of the very, very best of them. Emma Toon and Jade Grove checking into the game. Layla Booth and Kate McGreevy taking a seat.
I'm glad I've got none of that stuff in me. I could not be a goalkeeper. They are so important to the team. I'd always say, well, a common phrase in the futsal world, I think, is a goalkeeper is 50% of your team. If you look at it today, we've got 14 players, 2 of them goalkeepers. The goalkeepers are playing the whole game. Their communication from the back, like we saw with the Slovakian goalkeeper, that save a second ago, that's winning you the game.
Yeah, completely agree. It feels like, because it's a small-sided game, that it's meant to be sort of high scoring, but that's not always the way. It's hard to score a goal in this game, especially when the keepers tend to be pretty handy.
Like I said, it's going to finish 5-3, so we've got at least 7 more goals.
At least. England turn the ball over. Looking towards Jade Grove, who's been marshalled by Tom Chikova at the back there for Slovakia.
So we move back to a bit more of a 3-1. We're going to use Grove as that direct outlet, use her strength. Look, they're leaving the middle open every time. If we can get runners around her, we're going to create more chances.
She might not always need runners as well, Jade Grove. She's a very, very good player with the ball at her feet.
And just, again, tactically, Richard, that this sort of swapping between 4-0 and 3-1, what does that do to the opposition in terms of how they've got to think about how they set up and what they do in response to that?
They're trying to make the Slovakian team think. How are we defending now? Are they able to solve that problem where we're getting success through the pivot? Can they do something differently? Slovakia called that timeout a minute ago. I would have thought they would have tried to neutralise that pivot threat, but it looks like we're still getting that success.
Lovely feet again from Tichakova. Dinks forward. Toon uses her body really well there. Only slight Emma Toon, but that was strong play, and that was definitely strong play by Jade Grove.
Again, this is the starting 5 for Slovakia. They're trying to get this team on this 4 on as much as they can. This is where they see the most success, so it's great that all the Lionesses are getting a chance to play against it.
Yeah, it's Homova who is about to take this kick in. Tichakova at the back. On the far side is Yuskova. And leading the line, Kohachikova. Here she is. Good foot in there by Tune. Good front-footed defending by the England captain. And Kerry Walklett wins her side a free kick, taken quickly. Gerdinks it into the channel for Grove to try and do something with, and she wins a set piece.
And if we can start getting shots on target from these set pieces, this is a real asset. It's an easy game plan for any new futsal team or new player to adopt. Gaining territory, getting these set pieces, starting to get more shots off.
Yeah, and it's not always necessarily all about that final strike. Saw Emma Tune there, comfy save for the goalkeeper. That gets a nick off any one of the 2 feet that tried to block it. It becomes a whole different ball game for a keeper to try and block.
Walklett also doubling up nicely there in the corner. I think the Lionesses look hungry, I think. Again, if we can defend these set pieces well, that seems to be the main threat right now from Slovakia.
Not quite an England ball, but it was good defence by Grove all the same. Joylo saves and holds.
Lowe could have let that go in. You can't score directly from a kick in. One of the more unusual rules about futsal.
Love that little first-time
Great
pass from
one to
Walklett,
play.
and that's opened the space. Can she find the cross? Oh, Jade Grove was inches away from that. Goalkeeper got away with one a bit there, but now the game becomes open. Crossed in for Tune to collect. Grove didn't get a shout. And she's not scared, Jade Grove, of putting herself about a little bit.
Yeah, I love to see that. Getting a bit narrow on this side. Can we stretch it out? Nice,
Futsal is,
identified that well, but a little bit risky.
I'm just going to say there, Richard, futsal is an intensely personal game, isn't it? If you like your personal space, futsal really isn't the sport for you. It is so intense out there. The matchups are very individual, very one-on-one. And Jade Grove again, well, this is Tonks actually who's just come on.
Look at this, great technique there from Tonks to hold it up. Can we smother the second ball?
Very nearly. Slovakia will get this out though with the changes. This is Tomchikova who threads the ball through. Sophie Harvey was there to collect.
Clever turn that by Tonks. Stopping the ball there, knowing she's going to win the kick in. Good chance for us to reset.
And those last 2 attacks from England, and then a counter-attack came, and it's just so important, Richard, isn't it, that teams finalise their attacks, that don't allow the opportunity for it to come back at them.
Definitely. I mean, Louis, you've been commentating on men's and women's. What's your thoughts on where the Lionesses are at now compared to where they've been in their previous games?
Well, I think what's really stands out.
Dangerous pass. Sorry to cut you off, Lou. We'll come back to you now.
Yeah, I think really, I think you're both on 2 different pathways at the moment, and England's still very much in establishing themselves from a standing start. And I think what I'm seeing though is there's much more coordination, better understanding between the players.
Oh, what a strike! That is an incredible hit from Victoria Champanova. That is a ripper. Mentioned sometimes when you hit it off the set piece, you're just looking for that little nick, but sometimes the strike is so pure it doesn't matter. What a goal.
Yeah, great strike. Lowe looked a little bit unsighted. We did say that they were building good momentum in their set pieces, and set pieces are so key, so hopefully we can react well.
Here's Sophie Harvey, game back at 1-1. We're level once more. Tonks looking for room, found none. What a strike by Champion.
Yeah, I mean that was a tremendous strike. You know, those set pieces, you just need to get it right like that once, and they are incredibly difficult to stop, and England are going to take their time out by the looks of it. So just sort of going back to Richard's question, I think for England it's really trying to establish a style of play that with the players that are available at the moment, but also thinking about what's coming through. You know, what do we want the England Lionesses' identity to be? And some of that is going to be led by the players that we've got. And, you know, I think one thing you do share is that the players are given quite a bit of ownership in that, and, you know, leading on the court. You know, I'm sure you don't want to be joystick coach from the side. And also I think it's the players getting confident to, you know, this is also new to them. You know, there is no dress rehearsal for this. They've had to come here and, you know, in that first qualification competition, no friendlies, go out and play straight away at elite level, and then here learning how to behave at the hotel, and all that time, you know, you're not on your laptop or whatever, you've got to go and get some sleep and rest and eat properly. So I think all those things are still very new, and it's going to be interesting how it develops over the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and I think building those connections is key, and hopefully we can start to see that with our set pieces as well. Girl looking to open up.
Decent strike from Charlotte Gurr. She's very good on both feet, is the Helvetia player. She checks out the game, replaced again by Tonks. That was a good example of a timeout used to set up a set piece. Gurr came on for one thing and one thing only, and she very nearly executed it to perfection. It'll be an England ball from deep, which Foster will take, or rather Kirsty Corral. Foster's going to open up a little bit of an angle, and she'll continue her run here. Laid off by Tonks. Corral will get there.
We do have to keep making the most of that pivot domination, I think. It's going to create chances.
Slovakia generally haven't had too much fun playing against those England pivots, whoever they may have been. That did look a foul by Becca Tonks, and it is given rather belatedly by the referee. Always think body language is a really key thing, and you take a look at those sort of Slovakian fixers, and there's not many who seem to have had a particularly good time. They look a little bit sort of stressed and like they're struggling a little bit at times.
Yeah, I think they must be letting the Lionesses have that position, because we're getting so much success.
Sophie Harvey, no foul, play continues. Slovakia wanted the free kick, none was coming. But they didn't know they were in a game when they came here to Loughborough, Slovakia. They do now. England have been right at it from the first horn.
They have looked good in transition, Slovakia. I do think they are starting to create chances from that. We need to be careful about falling into that.
Kirsty Corral can bring that sense of calm on the ball. And she's available again.
Love that.
It's a lovely idea. No way through for Homova.
They are relying heavily on this same force, Slovakia. They do have quite a small squad as well. They brought 12, they could have brought 14. So
Oh, chance goal! Joy Low lost it. And Homova was there to pounce. Goal out of absolutely nothing, really.
does feel against the run of play, but like we said, those set pieces are creating some problems. They're going to be well drilled, Slovakia.
It was Kahachikova, my apologies, who applied the finish. I think Lowe just thought she had a little bit more time to gather that one in, and it just bounced off her chest a little bit. And as the ball was loose, Kahachikova stuck a leg in and was able to apply the easiest of finishes in the end. She won't score an easier international goal than that, will Dominika Kahachikova.
And so far, that's the difference, isn't it? Two set pieces.
I'd say psychologically, England were doing really well there, just under 2 minutes to go now, and looking obviously for a positive response, but Slovakians be delighted with that comeback.
It's a good ball forward to Papayova, who concede the kick in.
So far, she's been the main pivot outlet that Slovakia have tried to use, and I think the Lioness fixers, they've done a great job marking here so far. Compare that to the success we're getting here with Tobin.
McGreevy's pass forward was a good one. Her touch there was less so. Ali Miller rolls it into the path of Layla Booth. McGreevy looks to get Ali Miller in behind.
The right idea again, like we said, Miller's willingness to run in behind is going to create problems. There'll be more chances in this game for sure.
Bowled out by the Slovakian keeper, just kept alive really by the forward player, which is Papayova.
Typically you'd break the game plan down into a few different areas: in possession, out of possession, transition and set pieces. I think in possession, out of possession we're doing really well. It's the set pieces transition, I think, that have led to the goals. So
yeah, inclined to agree. When the ball's sort of been in open court, England have looked really competitive. They've probably had the better of the exchanges. When it's been broken down into attacking set pieces, Slovakia have by far and away had the advantage there.
yeah, we're looking really good with the ball. I think we're going to continue to create those chances.
Miller didn't have as much time as she thought. McGreevy knew precisely how much time she had and plays it off the Slovakian defender for an England ball. That was Bereshchikova, who is pressing her tightly. 22 seconds remaining of the first half here. As
Louis
Corral
gesturing wildly that Slovakia got a bit more of a press on, but might be a chance for us to score just before the end of the half.
just 10 seconds remaining. That's a good ball to Miller, who will unleash the shots. And it fizzes past the post of Denisa Moniatska.
Yeah, they definitely upped the press there, but as Richard rightly said, that gave England the opportunity to play around them, and I think that may suit England a bit more.
Yeah, to create that chance there, McGreevy with a lovely first-time ball across. Miller took it nicely, and there's definitely been some positives so far with 3.5 seconds left.
Low launches forward. Can Corral get something off? Not quite. That'll take us to the half-time horn. Really good matchup, this one. It's been a good watch. England took the lead through Kate McGreevy early on with a lovely goal, turning it home after excellent work by Ali Miller to set her up. Slovakia have worked their way back into it, though. A couple of cracking finishes, notably the first off the set piece, which was hammered in to equalise, and then a little bit of an error from Joy Lowe in between the England posts opened things up for Kahachikova to finish around about 3 minutes before the interval. Thoroughly enjoying game so far, Louis.
Yeah, I think overall, obviously England will be disappointed at the 2 goals that they conceded, but the performance overall has been pretty good, I would say. They've settled in. It's a whole new ball game for them. They're still experience in front of their home crowd, expectations there, family are here, and the eyes are on them at the moment. So just a question to Richard though. Look, we've seen England had a lot of success getting the ball into the pivot, but kind of what's the bit that's missing at the moment that's going to make that work better for England? Because at the moment we're finding it in that last attack there was no support, or it came very, very late. So what have England got to do? Are there triggers they're missing to go and support?
Yeah, I think you've kind of got the nail on the head there. A lot of the time our pivots are receiving it. They are isolated 1v1, but with Slovakia marking behind, they're okay with the pivot trying to turn. They're just then stepping onto that next tackle. If we can start predicting as the ball's being thrown, if our wingers can start getting the march on their counterparts, then we'll get more opportunities to score from the setbacks. So I do think, looking back in the first half, obviously we'd rather a different score. But I think in terms of how we played with the ball, I've been really impressed. The players are moving it nicely. We look really comfortable. I think we're dominating with the ball. But what Slovakia have got is they've got the experience to know, hey, England are up for this. We need to think about our game plan. And they've used transitions and they've used set pieces. And they've lent on their players the same starting 5 really to get them back into the game. And ultimately that is a part that these Lionesses are going to need to learn. How when our backs are against the wall, how can we get back into the game? Slovakia have done that well.
And in terms of the combinations of the players that are going on court at the moment, obviously there are 2 clubs heavily represented in Bolton and Bloomsbury. Does that help, or can sometimes that be a bit of a hindrance?
Yeah, well, Bloomsbury flying at the top of the league at the minute. I think they've got a lot of players in form. Obviously the challenge is when you come away to international, are you able to build those bonds again with potentially new players? You may or may not be playing with the same players that you do play with week in, week out. I think though, coming on the back of the qualifying campaign, we look like we've got a lot of that synergy in place. So But I do think the Slovakians will tie a second half, especially that first 5, and we will start to take advantage of that more and more.
And at some of the camps, obviously, you share camps with the women's team. And what sort of connections are there between the women's and men's team? In terms of how are you helping them, how are they helping you? Can you give us some insight into that?
Yeah, of course. So there's a number of camps throughout the season, and it's great to cross over with the women's team. Often it's kind of just chatting in the hallways, trying to get over lunch and things like that, and just say, how are the recent games? And it's good to know that they're doing really well as well. And a few of the times we can have chats with. I was having a chat with Laura before this about things you can do as pivot and kind of get those relationships at a club level, but also a position level as well. So yeah, I think there's lots that we can do right now, but it's still so new. I think we're going to continue to grow it.
Oh, lovely insight there from two very, very knowledgeable futsal experts. We've got half-time here at the Sir David Wallace Arena. We'll be back with you for the start of the second half. Slovakia 2-1 in front of England. Second half is due to get underway in around about 10 minutes. Do stay with us. Well, a very warm welcome back to the David Wallace Arena. We are moments away from the second half of this international friendly between England and Slovakia. The Slovakians lead 2-1 after a really good first half of action. And it is they, playing in all dark blue, who get us back underway for the second half. Stephen Jameson alongside Louis Melville, Richard Ward's here with you. And we were just chatting there in the break, Richard, about things that England can look to tweak and tune as they head into the second half that might regain them that lead that they held for much of the first. And interesting to see already a little bit of a change in the starting four.
Yeah, I think we've started with good intensity in the press, and I think first half we dominated the possession. I think we're going to be happy with that. Possibly want to create a few more chances, but it's definitely been a really tight game. Slovakia just edging it on transitions and set pieces so far.
That's a great pass for Kirsty Corral, spins it around the corner for Layla Boo. That's a good bit of goalkeeping from Manatska, who's made two very good saves in this game. One earlier on from Charlotte Gurr was a belter, and that was pretty handy as well. Ali Miller puts her head in where it hurts and wins that back for England. McGreevy ran into a bit of trouble, but managed to solve the puzzle. And she charges forward for England. Corral looks to give it back to her.
We look really good when McGreevy starts to move through the court. She's very dynamic and obviously got that goal in the first half as well. See how much she can influence the rest of this game.
Well, she's a really good player to have on the end of things, is Kate McGreevy, as she showed with her goal in the first half. Speaking of goal scorers, that right there was Dominika Kuchacekova, who scored the second for Slovakia. Won't score an easier one. A rare mistake from Joy Lowe, just opening the door, and Kuchacekova was very quick to pounce on the error as Kirsty Corral wins a free kick.
So you can see the question Louis asked in the first half was how can we make the most of our pivot dominance, and that Miller straight away there trying to connect, get closer.
Layla Booth and Kate McGreevy over this free kick. Kirsty Corral lurking behind them. She's got a fantastic strike.
I'm feeling a Corral rocket here.
Here she comes. Just got underneath it a fraction. So four's out on court at the moment for England. Kirsty Corral, Layla Booth, Ali Miller and Kate McGreevy. Layla Booth just caught underneath that slightly, but Slovakia couldn't quite make it connect with Homova, who's out there with Tichakova, the number 20.
Slovakia have clearly changed their game plan to smother the pivot. They've identified they can't win that battle, so the best thing they can do is get players in and around to win those second balls. That should, in theory, create more space for our wingers.
Here is Kirsty Corral. Yeah, that has to be a foul, surely. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest that we've had a break of about 15 minutes and Slovakia have come out with a slightly different intensity. You would say England edged the physical side of the battle in the first half. It very much felt like England were playing an international match and Slovakia were playing an international friendly. That's evened up a little bit so far. Slovakia have, to use the old phrase, got stuck in.
Definitely. Corral is definitely up for the battle, though, I think.
Teed up for her to strike one. She'll be annoyed with that.
Yeah, just to pick up on that, I was thinking Kirsty Corral will love every minute of that physical battle because she's made for that.
Yeah, she's in good form at the minute, coming on back of 3 goals in 3 games in the last qualifiers.
God, how's that? Brilliant work.
Lovely fake shot.
Ali Miller can pick it up though after good work by Yuskova. And here comes Ali Miller. Corral might get there, but that's an important intervention by Homova. And that's what Ali Miller can do. That's what her game's all about. And she's sort of chastising herself just down below us. I think she's thinking, why didn't I take that on a little bit further? The pass was so difficult to execute.
Yeah, good nutmeg. Again, great decision to go aggressive in that transition. Maybe could have passed it a little bit later. We're building some pressure now. Let's see what we can do from here.
Tobin's onto court to replace Corral. I think towards the back post. Layla Booth and McGreevy not quite on the same page. Slovakia are going to change their 4 here. Onto court comes Shampiova, who scored the game's opening goal with that, Slovakia's opening goal rather, with a tremendous strike from the kick-in. We've also got Tomchikova on the number 13, along with Bereshchakova, the number 15, and player you really liked watching in the first half, Richard Papayova, who plays really as a kind of pivot up top for Slovakia. Here she is. Just stood on the ball there, a little unlucky. Break here for England. Tobin has support. Just needed to avoid the legs of McGreevy there. If it just followed through into her pass, she was right in business. Ali Miller with a good challenge and a clear hold there.
Great strength by Miller. Lovely technique in that body shape. Using her arms and good, great centre of balance. Yeah, I think the 7 Slovakia, Papayova, she's okay. I think she's the outlet. I think the danger really for Slovakia is Tichakova, 20.
Layla Booth won't quite keep that in.
And just in that last attack as well, credit Laura Tobin, who came back as a pivot out of possession, came back to help her teammate to win that ball back. But Slovakia on 3 fouls, not even 2.5 minutes gone.
Again, we were saying at the break, Steve, it's quite tricky to get a conversation going, but I noticed Peter Cafon spending a lot of time talking to his fours on the bench when they're coming off, trying to get a lot of information into them. They're still trying to fix their game plan. Looking at the Lioness bench, I think we look in control. It is just a case of building up this ball. It's still very early. Got a lot of time to work our way back into this game.
Yeah, 17.5 minutes to play is a very long time in futsal. Clock stops, remember, every time the ball goes out of play.
Nice roulette from Tobin.
Layla Booth.
Again, we're trying to threaten that forward pass. Might not always be on, but we're trying to get the forward pass, and that's going to force the Slovakians back to defend it. Again, looks like Tobin's dominating this central battle.
Well, that's 4 fouls, and Slovakia are going to find themselves in trouble pretty quickly. I mentioned they've come out with a renewed aggression, but it's actually been too much. England tread the tightrope, I thought, actually really well in the first half. Maybe got away with a couple, but for Slovakia, 4 fouls so early. They're in real trouble here as Tobin looks to find Booth and just scoops it over the top of the crossbar. I think if Booth got a little bit more purchase on the shot, that was what she was looking for there, just to end up getting underneath it rather than behind it.
Yeah, lovely move again, though. We're passing through the lines, we're creating chances. I'm enjoying the game. We're creating chances, we're dominating the ball. We're going to stay out of these transitions.
Gachikova, important touch by Miller. Here's the twinkling toes of the Slovakian number 20. Here's Tichakova. In the end, the move breaks down.
Yeah, Tichakova, like I said, I'm most impressed with her ability to really manipulate the ball individually. She's very technically proficient, and she's drawn 2 players in. That's creating spaces elsewhere on the court. Outside of that, I do think it's transitions and set pieces we need to look out for. So let's try and build up some nice play here.
England have got an awesome foursome out on court at the moment with Charlotte Gurt, Emma Tune, Jade Grove and Kerry Walklett. That's a good ball. Tichakova almost threaded it through. Tune got a touch, that was crucial. Slovakian corner.
As you were saying, Steve, the approach from Slovakia has been ultra aggressive, and there is a price to pay for that, and the 4 fouls up, and that may have an effect on how they play once they get to 5 fouls.
Slovakia showing us that variation in set pieces again.
Tichakova feeds it in, gets the set back. She does manipulate that ball incredibly well. Oh, how's your feet? Goes down. England just about smuggle it away, and Jade Grove can charge at her defender here. Good challenge. Tune gets it clear. Well, you talked about the dancing feet, really, of Tichakova, but that was just a little bit of magic, wasn't it, from the Slovakian? Fortunately, she's got a bit of a knock and will come off, but you talk about ball manipulation and body position to hold on to it. That was incredible in such a tight space.
Yeah, as much as you like to watch it as a neutral, as an Englishman, I'm delighted she's going off a bit injured there. Hopefully she's okay, but no, that's a threat I'd like to not have on the court.
Was going to ricochet off Emma Tune for a Slovakian ball. As your position as the futsal educator, Louis, just a reminder for folks at home, if 5 fouls happen, what will occur for Slovakia?
Yeah, so once those 5, and they have to be direct free kick fouls, I'll just let this kick in play out. Yeah, so what happens after that is every direct free kick foul, regardless of where it's on the pitch, it results in a 10-metre uncontested penalty, and they have to shoot a goal. And every free kick after that is a 10-metre penalty. There is an exception, but if that happens, we'll come to it.
Brilliant work from Grove, who won't give up on that. Play continues, and Grove toe pokes it towards goal. Pomova can't quite believe that she didn't get a free kick there. I must admit, I'm surprised the call wasn't given either, but I think Jade Grove has sort of recognised here that she can really outpower and outmuscle a lot of these Slovakian players and is using that to her advantage. Easy save for Joy Lowe.
And Tune having that battle on the other side as the fix against the Slovakian pivot, so it really is becoming a battle of the pivots.
Here is Grove.
We're not thinking twice about finding Grove. She's being a weapon today. And keep landing in the right position, sending those runners through like it looks like we're trying to do. Chances again, they'll come.
The one player actually I thought handled the England pivots quite well in the first half. Well, hang on, it's Kuchakova who can't quite find the finish. Joy Lowe stood tall. Kuchakova looking for a second of the game. Good feet by Walklet. Kuchakova with a foot in. Grove smuggles it clear.
Great body shape there by Lowe. Nice and low, smothered the ball, had no option from the finish.
Yeah, player on court at the moment, just taking the ball in here. That's Tomčíková. She's playing as the fix for Slovakia, and I thought she in the first half was the only Slovakian defender who really looked comfortable. Here she is taking the shot. Breaks for Kuchakova and Lowe with the save.
Slovakia definitely getting the most of the momentum in the last few minutes.
Talked about the Slovakian captain, the goalkeeper, Monatska, in the first half. Talks about goalkeepers being vocal and all of that. Not sure if it's coming across on the stream, but her voice is loud and clear throughout this venue. Grove looking to turn past her player, and it will be an England corner.
Key part of this game for England is going to be, can we ride the storm in defence, and then when we get these opportunities, we need to start being clinical.
Played in towards Tune, it's worked away.
Nice idea with the set piece there between Gur and Tune. Tune stopped in the middle, looking for that shot inside.
Tracking back from Jade Grove. Kuchakova, dancing feet, great pass too. Low spread herself. England once again rather survive. Slovakia stepping it up here. Cut out by Gurin. If she could have brought that under control, she was in. She had clear court in front of her.
Centimetres away from being in a 1v1.
A couple of players take a seat. Kerry Walklet and Jade Grove. Emma Tune all depart. Gur cuts out the kick in. Poor pass there from Gur. Chance for Slovakia, and it's buried. Tichakova with the finish. The one player you can't afford to give those opportunities to on the evidence so far in this match. And Tichakova punishes the England midfield for giving that ball away so cheaply.
She's pounced on a slower ball across the area. You've got to be really careful when you're switching the play. She's on the front foot, intercepted well, and took a nice finish as Lowe was coming out.
Yeah, I mean, as coaches, Steve, we talk about the basics of the game and the pace of the pass, and we'd rather players overhit the pass than underhit. And England, just as you say, got to weather this storm now, reset themselves. They don't need to panic. There's loads of time left in this game. Well over 13 minutes.
Yeah, it was Charlotte Gur of all people with the mistake. Not often you see a Charlotte Gur pass go right like that. It's good work from Harvey. And it has been given, I think, as either a kick in or a goal kick. It was out on the far side. Monatska will send this one forward like a Hail Mary from the back. And it's not quite going to stick for Papayova.
Quite a tricky ball to control there as a pivot. If the ball's coming from quite high across the goal, not the most high percentage play.
Yeah, for the avoidance of doubt, we're playing with the blue lines on the court here at Loughborough. For those watching in black and white, those are the blue lines.
Not the volleyball, badminton,
Basketball,
handball.
There's a few different ones.
Good pressure here. We're in a 2v2. Big opportunity here if we can make this work.
Tonks leaning into a defender, doing well. Decision has gone against Tonks. I think the referee on the far side there just trying to say she had a fistful of shirt.
I think that was given because the Slovakia manager was coming over and giving the referee a bit of a complaint rather than it being a real foul.
Or chance. Thought Tonks might have been able to hit that early, but works the space instead. That's nice for Gert. Back with Harvey.
A good court advantage here. See if we can make it work.
Tonks with not much space to manoeuvre. Harvey can find Gert.
Lovely ball from Harvey.
Great pass. And Foster couldn't find the finish. Lovely move from England.
Great move, going through the phases, finding nice forward passes. Harvey really positive in the last couple of minutes in terms of getting beyond the final line of defence and finding those aggressive balls through the defence.
Kirsty Corral has checked back into the game. Charlotte Gerd departs. Another long throw from the goalkeeper is a good one. Karchikova gets there first, but Tonks sweeps that up. Corral tidy. And you just saw there from Corral, England are going to try and bait that fifth foul as much as they can. It's often said you watch it all the time in this game, coaches will often, as Alicia Grimman makes her entrance into the game for the first time alongside Kate McGreevy coming back in. But you often see coaches, they'll say, well, if we've got fouls, use them. They're there to be used. But if the other team has plenty of them already committed, you go into a little bit of bait mode, don't you? Try and buy those extra free kicks and those extra chances.
Yeah, it's a good game plan. I think 4 fouls. I think we had those around 16 minutes. Let's see how we can make the most of it, looking at the last 11 minutes now.
Can we see a few players look to go more 1v1 and invite the pressure, invite the contact? Ali Miller back onto court. Someone who's never afraid to go 1v1, and on that occasion, Karchikova was her equal.
We've said it a few times as well. This is the Slovakia experience for. They're going to tire as this game progresses into the final stages.
Here's Grimmond. Very accomplished with the ball at her feet.
Well,
space there for Miller. And Corral, great save. Manatska shut out the light in front of Kirsty Corral. Ali Miller has stayed down.
Manatska's been so good at smothering those second post opportunities. I think her anticipation has really been the difference so far in this game. 2 chances England really could have finalised, and she's done really well to save both.
She just comes out of nowhere, doesn't she, Manatska? Just all of a sudden she's a speck in the distance, and then she's blocking out all the light in front of you.
But I mean, I've been watching her throws from the goal clearances, and they're really powerful and aggressive. There's intent on them, and they are causing problems. And England have been caught out a few times where the ball's just drifted over, and they just need to be careful with that. But you know, I can see now why she is the captain, because you know, she said something and it happens for the team, and she has made some tremendous saves as well.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you. I don't know if anyone here is. There was a chance there a moment ago. Do you think the pass could have gone a little earlier to Ali Miller?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I'm just reflecting more on both of those finishes that we've had second post. I don't think there's much more that could be done by those who've been in that finishing position. Obviously, Corral with that last one, because she's anticipating that pass across. Like you say, it is probably ball speed both in that pass initially at the back post, and then that one across. It has to be a bit quicker because she's anticipating it really well. You know, more positives. We're getting the opportunities. It's going to drop at some point. And look, 4 more goals for England, and my 5-3 prediction comes in. So I'm halfway there.
You know, we're almost 3/4 of the way through the game now, and just trying to assess England's performance. And obviously Slovakia are in the elite round, and you know, I think England have competed themselves well, and it's probably just down to moments of the game, Richard. That's the difference.
Definitely. I think as well, you can see here, we're trying to use Grimond as a bit more of an attacking threat and trying to create some more clear opportunities. I like seeing this dynamism in this team, the ability to switch between the different tactics. We spoke about 3-1-4-0. Goalkeeper in the modern game is so key now, and Grimond is so comfortable, both feet, technically.
Makes a big difference, that, I think, for all of Joy Lowe's amount of quality that she has in the goalkeeper position. Grimond, you'd probably say, has the advantage out of the goal. Quite often we've seen her down the years play in that out court position, and she's got a real ability to pick a pass and to even beat a player on occasion.
Yeah, and it's a role that she fulfills a lot, even now for Helvetia. You know, when they need her on court, she will, and you know, she's a willing participant in that because she's good with her feet, very good with her feet.
I think she came into the game so young as well, and her coaches have clearly identified how good she is with her feet and being able to build on that, especially at the international stage. That's kind of where I think England needs to get to, is where you can use that keeper as that automatic fifth player to make those superiorities.
Yeah, both her and Joy Lowe, in fact, coming into the sport as real youngsters and have now developed what you call futsal keeping habits as their automation rather than football.
Yeah, you can see we're moving a bit more to a 4-0, getting opportunities to break the lines.
Loads of space there for Layla Booth. Corral is the option. Looking to bring the wingers into play. Charging was Harvey. Intercepting was Kahachakova.
This experienced Slovakian four, very calm, keeping the ball, not forcing anything.
Juskova Tsohomova. No way through.
It's game management from Slovakia. They're riding the storm a little bit. Let's see if England can start to break them down a bit more consistently.
Alicia Grimmond looking to find that big diagonal pass. England will take that.
And that's success. High kick-ins. Can we now turn that into shots?
I just think one thing that, you know, people watching this stream and even us that are in the game, that England's still very much in a learning phase. This is only their 7th international.
McGreevy and Booth not quite connected. Slovakia will utilise this brief respite just to reset with Klaudia Tichakova. Scoops it forward towards the pivot. Sophie Harvey got there in front of her.
I wonder if the Slovakian team have been saying anything about limiting the number of fouls. We haven't had any timeouts yet. Obviously both teams entitled to a timeout.
Another chance for Slovakia. Tichakova just doesn't seem to give the ball away.
She doesn't. She's so tight, so good at keeping it in those tight spaces.
Poked forward and won't quite stay in. Just didn't quite open up for Tichakova there to really have a shot. But even then, she never loses it.
Surrounded by three, and she's still come out the other side with a successful pass.
Layla Booth can come forward for England. Stabbed forward, gets it back. Layla Booth, great save. Monatska there again. That's 3 fantastic saves from the goalkeeper now. Tichakova wears one from Booth. And 2 Slovakian players have now hit the deck. Tichakova still down following that challenge from Layla Booth, which I think was a fair one. The second one was definitely a foul. But just watching the live stream as an form of action replay for us, I actually don't think it was a clean tackle from Layla Booth. I think Tichakova was caught late, and 2 Slovakian players down, Papayova and Tichakova. They'll want both of them to be all right.
It's a yellow card for Harvey there. I'm not sure if she was the player involved in that second challenge. I think Booth definitely could have been in the first one. Could have been a foul. Yeah,
Sophie Harvey's been booked for the challenge on Papayova,
yeah.
which is correct. I think Layla Booth has got away with not being booked for that first one. On second look, we've just rewinded the stream to have a watch, and yeah, definitely a foul.
Have they given 2 fouls there or 1 then? Yeah, they've only given the 1 foul. Realistically, that should be 2. But yeah, that's what fouls are for, stop the transitions. I think Booth's done the right thing in trying to stop the initial one. It's not like we've got any qualifiers here where a number of yellow cards will suspend it from the next game. You know, you've got to try and win this game. Fouling when you need to is an important part of the game.
It's not often you see a slide tackle on the hard court. You've got to be a pretty hard player to do that, just as Wardy's showing off his war wounds from the week already.
Yeah, I'm covered in scabs, but, you know, that'll go.
Just going back to that England chance there, it was interesting just looking back at the playback, and Layla Booth, I think she was at full stretch to try and get that. I think she probably wanted to lift it over the keeper, but she'd hurdled the player, and then just at full stretch couldn't get under the ball, so it went against the keeper. But I think she ideally, if she'd been on her feet, she'd have just lifted that over.
Again, great dynamism, a lovely one too, and I think she's got the toe early, but again, I think Monatska's just great split save. She's stretched her leg out and got it with the toe, so yeah, stretch is just coming on right now for Papajova, so I don't hope it's not too bad here, but this looks like it could be a little bit serious.
Yeah, Tichakova is, I believe, back on her feet. She is on the bench, and the boot has come off, so I mean, personally, I hope she's okay to continue, because I thoroughly enjoyed watching her play this afternoon.
You know, we've got to remember these two meet again tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock here, Steve. So, and as you say, they've come with quite a small squad, 12 players. So hopefully this is just precautionary.
You'll have had this before in your international career, I'm sure, Richard, where you've had to play these sort of very short series sort of style matches. We talked earlier about it being an immensely personal and physical game. How much does that brew and develop over the course of multiple matches?
It's a great question. I can't think of any time I've personally created a vendetta in a first game which has led to a number of crunches or smashes in the next game. But after a first game, you do always go back to the hotel. There's a lot of analysis. You do want to fix the wrongs from the previous night. So there is a big challenge there in making sure you do deliver the next evening, because often, you know, if you get a good win or if you get a loss, you think it might be the same result the next night, and that absolutely isn't the case. So I think whatever happens today, England, like I said, we've dominated the ball. We are creating chances. Manatska's having a really good game. It might be her night tonight. Might be a different night tomorrow. Might create different chances. The second goalkeeper might be playing. We've seen some number of injuries. It could be a completely different game tomorrow. But
just from an England perspective, where, you know, we're looking at the Slovakians. You know, they went through to the elite round. You know, obviously Tichakova is a very, very good player, technically adept. She's really comfortable with the ball. And is that something where England can look at her footage and go, well, I'll take that away. I can use that in my domestic game to learn about what you know, her technical ability. You know, she's a very, very good player.
Yeah, just a moment there as Papajova's being stretched off. Obviously, our thoughts are with her. Hope she's okay.
Yeah, here. Never nice to see a player exit early. Thoughts with Sofia Papajova. I hope she's going to be all right.
Yeah, sorry, Louis. I was concentrating on that. What was your question again?
I was just sort of looking at, you know, we're talking about the number 20 Tichakova, and, you know, technically very, very good. Doesn't lose the ball, hardly loses the ball. A really intelligent player, understands the space around her. Is that something where the England players can go away and look at her footage and say, well, how do I incorporate that, but still keeping our own identity?
Absolutely. I think any young players watching this today, you look for the standout players. What do they do that I can steal and adapt to my game? And as much as Chiakova's been very tidy with the ball, I think players like Booth getting in the pocket, being dynamic, Miller, how energetic she is throughout the court. I think England have got a lot of players they can draw inspiration from as well. I just think right now Chiakova's probably got that little bit of extra class, having competed previously in elite rounds, where she's not losing the ball. And I think that does stand out in the game.
Slovakian set piece, though, to be played forward by Champiova, who we've seen already has got a fantastic strike on her. That one's well blocked. Charging forward here is Tonks as we resume hostilities. 8.5 minutes to play here in Loughborough. Shot is wide from Tomčíková, so the foreign court right now for Slovakia. Tomčíková, Champiova, number 17, Nedorostova, and the number 15, I think it is, yeah, Bereščáková.
I think England have taken the opportunity with that little injury to have a bit of a team talk about how we can improve our game now. We seem to be a bit more aggressive and dynamic with the ball. You can hear Sean on the side as well. And the players themselves on court, that's really coming across here. Creating some nice opportunities.
Kerry Walklett skips by her challenge. It's back at Tonks into the feet of Gurr, who tried to tee at Walklett. A break here for Harvey. England recycle.
And they're keeping it well, though. Chance is going to come.
Shot comes in. Oh, that was not far away. Manatska just had a little look there as if to say, wow, that really flew. And I think she got a touch on it as well. It will be an England ball. Not sure it was maybe ever really on target, but Manatska couldn't be sure.
But I think all the build-up play leading to that's probably one of England's best phases of play here, Richard.
Yeah, Gurr, lovely overlap to Tonks. I'm looking at the score. Good set piece.
chance on the break for Slovakia. Sophie Harvey sprinting to get back there.
Harvey did a great job in that recovery transition.
Yeah, her and Becca Tonks absolutely launching themselves back into the defensive phase and doing so very, very well. Sent forward for Neda Rostova. Nowhere to go. A couple of changes incoming shortly for England. Layla Booth is stripped and ready, so too Ali Miller.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're starting to get into the latter stage of the game now. What Sean Kitson's going to be thinking about, how aggressive they go, thinking about maybe playing fly keeper to get back in the game, or have they got enough in their normal game plan to get themselves back in the game and get level, even look for a winner.
Walklett, good save. Brilliant England move. Another brilliant Monatska save for Slovakia. It's been a captain's performance from the goalkeeper.
Move from England. You've got to think at some point these are going to drop. Again, just as we slow it down again for this set piece, we've got an extra player on the court, so this is going to be a yellow card.
Yeah, just a breakdown in communications there. Jade Grove came on early and was meant to be as a replacement for Charlotte Gurr. I think they're going to avoid the yellow card by the looks of things, but yeah, it will be a Slovakia ball. So the 4 out on court at the moment is Grove, Booth, Tune and Miller. Really like that as a foursome, by the way.
Yeah, good 4 we've got on here. Combination of experience and energy.
And changes as well for Slovakia. Happily, Tichakova is back out on court. She's good to continue. We've also got Yuskova and Homova and Koharchukova as well. This was the starting out court for Slovakia at the beginning of the game. Control that. Somehow Koharchukova did really well to get that back into play.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a bit of a break in play, really, just to talk about how much of a good job the women's teams are doing in the National League. It's so great to see a number of clubs represented. Obviously, mainly Bloomsbury, Bolton, Helvetia, taking a bulk of the players playing the minutes, but I think it's testament to the...
Tune! Oh, what a save again from Monatska.
It's gone through her legs, just flicked the inside of her right heel and gone out for a corner. That is so unlucky.
England skipper so close to a goal. Monatska has been the busier keeper by a million miles in this game. Set back from Miller to have a strike, and that will sail over. Yeah, you're absolutely right on the call. We just had another look at it. But do you know what it was? It was the flexibility shown actually by Monatska to form that kind of K position. And ultimately, her foot's done its job. It was where she wanted it to be and makes the save. Grove beaten to it on this occasion by Yuskova.
Full 4 change here for England. Hopefully against now a tired starting 4, we're going to start to see more and more opportunities.
Well, interestingly, England have gone the fly as well. Charlotte Gurr has got the goalkeeper jersey on as well. So 6.5 minutes left. She's responsible for all goalkeeping action, but she can also play out court as well. McGreevy, Corral, Tobin and Walklett are the other players out on court for England as they try and set it up with the power play, 5v4.
It's good to come back, invite them out, draw the pressure. That'll create more overloads at the back.
Here's Tobin. He will find space in those corners.
Gur's so good at temporising here in the fly.
Corral, and Tobin couldn't quite get a touch on it. I think if she got a little glance on it there, she might have been in business. Joy Lowe comes back on to replace Charlotte Gurr as the fly, who will be there or thereabouts to come back in when England have steady possession. Sorry, Richard.
No, I was going to say, if we can get Corral and Tobin in and around the area, we're going to score goals.
Yeah, I think what was really encouraging, although we didn't quite get the finish, the set-up play, and they've obviously got the structure right to hopefully create some extra chances here. And what I'm really glad about is that Sean hasn't waited until 2 or 3 minutes to try this. We've given ourselves plenty of time here to start to work it.
England have made changes once more. It's Foster back into play. She's going to play as the fix. Jade Grove up as the pivot player. Corral and Walklett as the 2 wings. Scoot forward.
2v1 at the back here. Yeah, great header there back from Foster. She had to win that one.
That was a proper defender's header, wasn't it? Not often you see a no-nonsense defensive style in futsal, but that was exactly what it was.
As well to buy a bit of extra time.
Another England ball. Shot was sliced by Yuskova.
I know there's 2 goals deficit right now, but in futsal anything can happen in 5 minutes. 5-3 still on.
Anything can happen in 1 minute in futsal. That's nice, Grove. Good feet from Grove. Tichikova's done really well there. Grove left a couple in on her. Tichikova wasn't having that. Fair challenge on that occasion by Grove. Was that? Apparently so. Must say, if I was a Slovakian there, I'd be screaming for a free kick. But
yeah, I mean, Tichikova, you saw a bit of an aggressive two-handed slap. She's playing on the line. She's that kind of player where it's kind of about her, the game.
But I think she's been involved in a lot of physical battles. I think maybe that's a bit of frustration starting to kick in there, Richard.
Yeah, Jade Grove is not one to shy away from putting herself about. She is a nightmare for defenders. Yeah, definition of a proper handful. Here she is, instant control.
Lovely touch.
Screens the defender as well, so Ali Miller has a bit of room.
Are we going to go fly again, or?
Do have the opportunity now to set it up if they want to, but Grove's looking to roll. Just lost the touch.
Slovakia bench getting a bit louder now. You can hear them digging in deep, supporting each other. They feel like it's a tight game.
They've lasted on 4 fouls for 11 minutes now. Just wonder if that's something England may regret not trying to capitalise on a little earlier. They will roll into the fly now with Gert.
Yeah, obviously moving to fly, you're going to get less opportunities to win those fouls, but you're using the goalkeeper as an extra player. Hopefully that superiority will create some more opportunities.
So here's Grove in the corner.
Return.
Great ball in. Tell you what as well, Kirsty Corral was lurking at the back post, and the ball was angled there from Grove.
Ortavenska had to be on her toes to get ahead of that one. Really proactive defending.
Slovakia's sort of last-ditch defence has been excellent, really. Think of Manatska as the goalkeeper, but also in a couple of tackles and blocks, which have been so key.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Tobin's corner wraps it into the shins of Berastchakova. McGreevy, Corral around the corner for Walcott. Tobin, can she get the shot away? No.
Can we smother the ball? Second ball, need to smother.
Goalkeeper still out of court. Here for England, and McGreevy had to make those challenges. It will be an England ball.
Great challenge by McGreevy, such a reliable fix. Had to win that one there.
England once again will try and set it up from base camp. Still the fly.
What it looks like England are doing well is getting the ball into the wide position, drawing that winger across for that first time pass to then go across.
Well, there's the shot. Manatska got there twice, and again, Tobin off the post. And the only time in the game, really, that Manatska has been properly beaten since the opening minutes. It's the post that denies England. Laura Tobin couldn't have been closer to an England goal.
How was that not gone in?
Well, I think we're sort of entering the game now where the Slovakians can see the finishing line, but 4 minutes in this game is an eternity.
We have to keep being patient, though. We're getting the right opportunities. Gert's decision-making in the fly has been fantastic. Well into Walcott.
So on the fly, Richard, there's a couple of key and timeouts called perfectly here, so we'll have our own little coach's timeout in the booth as well. What are the key tenets of what you're looking to achieve on a fly? Because you obviously have that player advantage. It's 5 versus 4, so you're naturally going to get the defence more into their shell. What's the key to breaking it?
So, you know, the basics with any movement, regardless of fly keeper. So ball speed, trying to fix your opponent. But essentially what you're looking to do in the fly keeper is look for where the advantage is. You've got 5 outfield against 4 outfield. The quicker you can work that ball across from side to side, the more you're moving their defence across. And that's where the gaps are going to open up.
So it's making the court as big as possible and then cutting through.
Yeah, partially. I think also as well, just moving it quickly from side to side, down the line, sucking them in. Little short passes. As long as you're moving forward and getting the defence turning, you're giving them different problems to solve. So I think what we're doing really well at the minute is with the ball starting centrally, finding the winger with that first time ball down the line, And then, as we've seen a few times, Walcott's had it in the corner. That pass straight across the box has created a good opportunity. Really unlucky not to score a moment ago through Tobin.
Couldn't have been any closer. Header is a good one by Layla Booth. Slovakia throw in. What am I saying? Kick in.
You're rusty.
I am a
Stop all that pool commentary. Get back to the proper sport.
I am a little rusty, you're right. Well done. Layla Booth stabs it through. Bex Foster gives it away. Tichakova, how good is that? Waits for it, and it's the first time she's sort of almost lost the handle, really, in
the
chance? Entire game. And here come England with Ali Miller. Grove at the back stick. No way through.
I like that, though. I like that we're still looking for those dangerous balls over the top. That was a 2v1. We've got an aggressive kick, and that helps us build back into this fly goalkeeper, where we're creating opportunities.
So back in come the fly set for England of Corral, McGreevy, Gurr, Tobin and Walklett.
It looks like there's goals in this fly. I really like how Gurr's building the team. We need to keep that width there from Tobin. Just come a bit too tight inside. Here we go. There's a chance.
Tobin sets it for McGreevy, shot deflected, corner. I really like the choice of Gurr on the fly as well. She's such an elusive player. She can really ghost into positions.
Yeah, not only is she so tidy with the ball, but she doesn't make a bad decision in terms of those passes. She also helps the other players play around her. She's directing the play. Look, she's facing forwards, forcing the Slovakians to think about defending that forward pass.
Corral for Walklett. To Gurr!
It's been coming.
It certainly has. The fly pays dividends for England. Charlotte Gurr atones for her earlier error, and wearing the goalkeeping jersey, she buries the chance. Lovely work by Corral and Walklett, and the finish unerring.
She's been so good in the fly. You can see she's even pointing to Walklett in the corner, knowing that she's got the beating of the winger on the other side. Thoroughly deserved. I feel another one.
Yeah,
2:45 to play.
And I think we have to really acknowledge the quality of that finish, because, you know, we know what a top keeper we're up against here, but that was and also the double run there from Charlotte Gurr. She started to make her way in, checked again, and then got in front and finished.
Ali Miller turns it forward to Tonks. Looks to roll her defender. Shot comes off, but comfortably watched away by Manatska, who's beaten for the second time, and it took a very, very precise finish.
I'd say we've been so successful in finding the pivots today and getting some opportunities. I think that's definitely something to look at for tomorrow. Can we continue to capitalise? Maybe get some more clear goal-scoring opportunities.
Tune for Miller. Use her pace. See you later. Just needed a little bit more room. You can see there, even in that very tight space, how quickly Ali Miller can race away from defenders. Changes aplenty for Slovakia. It's the first minutes on court for the number 6, Tamara Ordzovenska.
I think as soon as Miller's lining up on that left-hand side, though, you've got to clear out that space. Let her go 1v1. She's got a great left foot. She's going to swing her foot at it, and you're going to find something at the second post.
Walklett, McGreevy, Corral and Tobin are on. They're going to look to set up the fly here, and Slovakia are wary of that, and they've pressed high to avoid it. That's exactly why the coach on the far side is so pleased with his team's defensive work there.
At this point of the game, it's interesting to see if England have got specific players who they want to choose to go and press the ball, and then flip back into those who are going to play the fly goalkeeper. You know, do you have those specialists?
McGreevy, that's a lovely ball for Corral to come forward. Corral got a little nudge in the back, but the toe poke is good to get a corner.
Yeah, Ordzovenska, really clever little push just as she was pulling her foot back to shoot.
Gurr is set now in the fly for England. Here she is.
Glad to see we're flying again.
McGreevy, England have a minute and 34 seconds and ticking in which to work. McGreevy's pass forward, Walklett can't quite connect.
I think once we're finding Walklett in the corner, her decision making in terms of hitting it across the box or pulling it back to Gurr, again, been really good.
That's a wasteful throw out from Manatska, straight through to Joylo, and England will try and set up the fly here. They're just going to pretty much do it immediately.
Can't go back to the goalkeeper here.
Yeah, they need to get it into the Slovakia half, and Slovakia, I think, a little bit passive there in defence. They had the opportunity to trap England.
They're defending this really high. I think if we can get it to the sides, we've got big spaces in behind now.
Minute to play.
Honestly, just get it in to go.
McGreevy, loose touch.
Plays in a bit of a different position right now.
Good, couldn't quite execute with that opportunity, and it was an opportunity.
50 seconds left. You want to find the players in those corners, get those dangerous balls across. Let's see if we can fashion 1 or 2 more chances.
Tichakova is back on for Slovakia. She's going to take this kick in. Sends it long towards Kahachikova, straight through for another England goal kick. So they'll work the fly. In a moment, we are going to see a timeout. Not sure who it was called by, didn't get a wave, but either way, a timeout. I think Sean Kitson is the one we're going to focus on here, because England need a goal. They've got 46.4 seconds to do it. Their fly has been really effective so far, Louis, but how can they find one more goal out of it?
Well, obviously the big problem from this restart is going to be a goal clearance. So, you know, I would expect Slovakia to go and press and try and stop us from getting that fly keeper on the court. But, you know, I suppose the other opportunity would be to go along and then try and hold up and get the player on. But so that I think that's the dilemma for Sean, and he's just trying to maybe work on some of the movements here. He knows they've got to get the ball up here to the top half of the court. So those movements, where can they get Charlotte going into those positions? We've definitely created 3 or 4 good chances, but we just need to find one quality and find the finish.
Yeah, if I was Sean in this position, I think I'd be saying we've had such success from our pivots. Get the pivot long, win a high kick in, and we can build into our fly goalkeeper and try and get that one final opportunity.
So it'll be Joy Lowe, who I think is going to look to do exactly that. No, goes to the wing and Walklet. And Slovakia do indeed press high. Kirsty Corral did well to get a body in. And Tichakova concedes the the kick in, and now we'll see that fly come in.
That's high enough. Got enough time here.
Only wasted a better part of 7 seconds in that exchange. Can England level in the remaining 38?
We've looked so confident in this so far.
Corral for Gert. Patience the key. Walklet's in space, so too is Tobin at the back post for England. Tobin works it to McGreevy.
Ball behind.
And Walklet, what a save! That is an unbelievable stop by Benisa Manatska. She is the match winner, if it is to be a win for Slovakia. Tee back for Corral with the block with Slovakia once more. Heroic block by Jana Juskova, who's absolutely worn one to the midsection. Corral got a hold of that.
That's 2 huge chances. I don't know how they've kept those out.
That save from Denisa Manatska. Absolutely brilliant to deny Walklet, who did everything right.
Well, I mean, I've written down 2 names as to why, if England, I'll let this play out.
It's Corral. 11 seconds. McGreevy. Yes. Tobin! And Tobin again! And somehow Slovakia smuggle it out of that defensive section. I believe it will be a Slovakia ball as well. Tichakova has stayed down. Well, England haven't been left wondering. They have thrown everything at this, and credit to Slovakia, they have had the answer. Their final line of defence in Denisa Monatska has been outstanding. Couple of seconds left to see out for Slovakia, and they've done it. It's a win for the visitors here at Loughborough in this mini-series between these 2 nations. England once again show that they belong at the elite level of UEFA competition. Slovakia automatically qualified into the elite round of qualifiers earlier on this year, which will take place in October. England missed out by a single goal, and they've shown that they are ready to compete at that level with a really competitive match here.
Definitely. I think obviously the players are going to be disappointed, but they'll take stock. They've got a good chance to atone in tomorrow's game, and you know, this is a moment of history here. Getting the Lionesses on home turf in front of a fantastic crowd today. I think they can be proud of their performance. Definitely in possession, created a lot of opportunities. The fly looked great at times, and 3-2. I'd love to see the XG on this game. I think we were definitely higher there, and Slovakia's keeper, Manatska, she's probably been the difference today.
Yeah, you'd suggest so. There was a couple of really outstanding players on both sides. I mean, out court, we all purred at Klaudia Chichakova, but ultimately the keeper was the difference in the end, Louis.
Yeah, well, those are both the names I've written down here. You know, when you look back at this game, and you know, as Richard has rightly said, England will be disappointed. Definitely, England were worth a draw today on the performance. But those two players, they were the difference, and it was Tichakova who actually got the block on Laura Tobin that saved the game for them.
Yeah, she was everywhere.
Yeah, she really was. And I think on the England side, obviously, I think the pivot's got a lot of success. I think the difference for them, probably looking at the next game tomorrow, is can they turn that into goals? We're getting the runners forward a little bit more. I think Lila Booth getting between the lines as well as Miller. I really enjoyed seeing their dynamism, how they can affect the opposition team, make them chase them. And obviously McGreevy at the back, I think, scored the first goal, did really, really well today. It'd be a real interesting game tomorrow, I think.
Just picking up on what Richard said about the pivots, ironically, one of the sessions this morning was around pivot play, and it was run by John Tapia-Owen's brother David, who's a coach and analyst out in Spain. And his point was that at now elite level futsal, the ball is going to get into the pivot. It will happen. You cannot stop it, as the England players come to receive some welcome applause.
Yeah, absolutely. Just behind the graphic that you see on screen there, the England players are taking their bow in front of this Loughborough crowds. It has been an absolute pleasure to have watched these girls play on, as we mentioned, home court for the very, very first time. And they gave a very, very decent account of themselves as well. Really competitive game. And the best news is, if you enjoyed it, you can do it all again tomorrow. These two will meet again on court. I think 11 o'clock kickoff is what you told me, Louis. Yeah, 11 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see you then. From myself, from Richard, from Louis, though, pleasure to have your company this afternoon. And from everyone here, enjoy your evening.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much for your fantastic support this afternoon here in England's first ever home international. We have the pleasure of announcing the player of the match, presented by head coach Sean Kitson. Let's hear it for today's player of the match, Kate McGreevy. Kate, come on over. Just a couple of questions. I won't make it too difficult for you. England Lionesses' first ever home international, and you bagged the first goal. Tell us how that felt.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible, to be honest. I don't score many. As my first international goal, so it was nice. Ali Miller put it on a plate for me, which was nice. Shame we couldn't get the win, but we'll try to get that tomorrow, and get revenge hopefully. But we played well.
Yeah. And just tell us what it felt like to be playing in front of a really good, vocal home crowd for the first time.
Yeah, it was amazing. Everyone came out to support, which we're really grateful for. Great to see so many young players here as well. Hopefully they'll be future Lionesses. Hopefully they enjoyed it, and yeah, to play it for the first time here, home soil, we never really knew what it felt like, and it was amazing, and we can't wait to do it all again tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow it is 11 a.m. kickoff. Really close game, as the scoreboard would suggest, but I think anybody that watched it would suggest it was an awful lot closer than that. Some really good chances at the end. So, you feeling quietly confident, ready for the sort of rematch, if you like?
Yeah, I think we played well, particularly in the second half. The intensity we had last 15 minutes, we need to bring that from minute one, as Sean's just said. And then, yeah, put them under pressure. I think we've got the ability to do it, and we want to win in front of everybody as well.
Fantastic. Let's hear it one more time, everybody, for your player of the match, Kate McGreevy.